The pill went on the market for the first time, and soon there was a sexual revolution around the world.
The pill has become far and away the most widely used means of contraception.
It was an incredibly disruptive technology. It separated sex from reproduction in a simple to use and very effective way.
Start taking your pills on day 5.
The pill was approved in 1960, and its impact on American women's lives is still being felt more than 6 decades later.
This picture is in front of a dorm at Cornell. It's of me and my husband, who came to see me in the fall of my junior year.
When Dorothy Finger was in college in the early 1960s, birth control, which often didn't work, was illegal for unmarried people in most states.
You weren't supposed to have sex. You weren't supposed to be doing anything.
The shame of an unwanted pregnancy was very severe.
Jeff, isn't that Eileen?
And would ruin a young woman's reputation.
It sure is, baby and all.
Gee, I haven't seen her since she left school.
The stigma against sex out of marriage was very, very intense. And so you got married.
The expectation was that you would get married. And so the women and men in that era were getting married at pretty young ages.
I was 21. I went to summer school after my junior year so that we could get married in February of 1965. And I was able to graduate. Did I have a fully formed identity? I don't think I did. I think I was still sort of floundering with what I wanted to be, who I could be, because I was so young.
Dorothy was not alone. At the time, over 90% of American women got married at a median age of 20 years old. Women made up only 38% of the workforce, and most of those who worked had female-dominated jobs like sales clerks and secretaries.
With no major responsibilities, girls like Joan use their jobs as lucrative intervals between school and marriage. Their incomes are seldom high, but then neither are their job ambitions.
We didn't have widespread availability of contraception, so it was pretty common for people to start having kids right after having gotten married. That was the expectation. You had kids, and that was your job as a woman in many cases.
The average woman had 3 or 4 children.
You then put off the investments that you might have wanted to make in yourself. It's going to affect your eventual job and career. It's going to affect how you view your future.
But a birth control revolution was starting. In 1960, the pill was approved. It was nearly 100% effective and largely restricted to married women. By 1965, 1/3 of them were on the pill.
Dorothy Finger has been taking the pill for 8 years. She and her attorney husband, Ken, carefully planned the arrival of their 3 children.
It's at your option, and you make the choice. And it's not just waking up one morning and finding out that you're going to have a baby that you weren't counting on.
It was freedom. It made possible planning my life and how I could control when I had kids. I only wanted 3. That was it. Because 3 was enough, and I wanted to have some kind of career.
The introduction of the pill revolutionized how we think about having children. It was not just something that happened to you, but that's something you should be planning for.
Pope Paul's recent encyclical on birth control is continuing to cause controversy.
There was opposition to the pill, most notably from the Catholic Church and from women concerned its high level of hormones would cause health problems.
Hi, may I help you? Okay, was this for birth control?
Nevertheless, it didn't take long for the pill's impact to be felt.
Last year, the United States had the lowest birth rate in its history, about 2 babies per family.
The pill emerged at a time when the feminist movement was gaining momentum and women were insisting on new opportunities that had not been available before. So it was really revolutionary in terms of women's lives.
With her family set, Dorothy went to law school.
It was always in the back of my mind. When they opened Pace Law School, the first class was starting. I was in my 30s. And they took in a whole group of women like me, some older, and we had our own little study group.
If the pill changed the horizons of married women, its impact was even bigger after 1972, when the Supreme Court removed restrictions on birth control for unmarried women.
One thing you can say about the pill, if you don't take it, before long you may be counting your blessings.
The pill was suddenly everywhere, from country songs
Yeah, making up for all those years since I've got the pill.
to TV's top-rated Mary Tyler Moore show.
Don't forget to take your pill. I won't.
One of the first things that the pill does is it enables women and men to put off marriage. That breathing space is incredibly important.
Economic historian Claudia Golden won a Nobel Prize for her studies of women and work. She found that soon after they could access the pill, college-educated women delayed marriage by nearly 3 years.
Want time to become yourself before you become a parent?
Young women then could say, I'm going to invest in my education now.
An effective birth control method will give you that time.
It changed their occupations. It changed their view of who they were, what their futures were going to be.
Mom, did you know you wanted 3 kids? 3 kids seemed like a lot for a working parent.
Yeah, it was a lot, but more than that would have been out of the question.
For Dorothy Finger's daughter, Pamela Weber, and her generation, family planning was routine.
Dorothy Finger has been taking the pill for 8 years.
When I saw it the first time, I just thought it was funny that it was newsworthy, talking about my mother working and planning children. These are pictures of me at Union College. I was there from 89 to 93. This was me with my parents.
Pam went to college set on becoming a doctor.
I didn't think at all at that time about marriage and future family. My primary focus was on my career and getting into medical school. She's a psychologist. She's in commercial real estate. Almost all of my friends were on the pill. And certainly nobody worried that they couldn't go to a graduate program or get a job because they might have a kid. That would be almost laughable if we were talking about it. It just didn't come up in conversation.
They were part of an enormous shift as American women poured into professions previously dominated by men.
If we think about the enrollment that was female, for medical it was about 10% in about 1968 or so. Just 20 years later, it's 40%. If we think about law, it begins at 5%. 20 years later, it's 40%.
We got married my first year of residency. November 15th, 1997.
The nature of marriage and women's economic dependence on it also changed.
My husband was like, go work, make money, contribute, be my equal. A woman coming into a relationship who has a job and is confident and strong and independent is, someone's either gonna like or not like.
Pam and her husband eventually did have a family.
This is our first family trip to Disney. So we went, Noah was 2 and Sydney was 5. I was 29 when I had my first child, 32 when I had my second. It just gave me time to put the hardest part of my training behind me.
Today, women outnumber men in graduate and professional schools, including law, medicine, and dentistry. At the same time, fewer than 40% of Americans of childbearing age are married.
What's changed over time is that women are able to support themselves. If you go back 50, 60 years ago, women really did need to get married.
They're also not having as many children. In the late 1950s, the average woman had 3.7 children. Today, the fertility rate is at an all-time low, with the average woman having fewer than 1.6 children. That's below what's needed to replace the population, leading to fears of an aging society.
People look at childbearing as something they want to fit into their life. I want to find a job I care about, or at least feel really stable, and then I'll think about having children.
In fact, the only group increasing their childbearing is women over 40. While part of the reason is economic, it's also a result of a long trend that began with the pill, something many take for granted today.
It gives women control. When they're going to have babies and with whom they're going to have babies. They're not getting married so young, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's better to know yourself a little better and not be doing things just because. So it's a different world.